What if I told you that the biggest obstacle to your success isn't your workload, your boss, or even your circumstances? Scientists have discovered that automatic negative thoughts, those split-second judgments your brain makes about yourself, can be measured, tracked, and completely transformed in as little as 2 sessions. The data shows significant reductions in both distress and anxiety when people learn to recognize these thought patterns. But here's what nobody talks about. There's a specific sequence your brain follows when it spirals into negativity, and once you understand it, you hold the power to interrupt it. I want you to think about this for a moment. Every day, your brain processes thousands of thoughts without you even knowing it. Most of them happen so fast that you don't catch them, but some of these thoughts are working against you. They create stress in your body and make you doubt yourself before you even try. 2, the hidden pattern your brain follows. What if I told you that your brain has been running the same negative script for years without you even knowing it? Right now, as you watch this, your mind is processing thoughts at lightning speed. Most of these thoughts happen so fast that you don't even notice them. But here's what researchers discovered about these automatic negative thoughts. They follow the same patterns over and over again, like a broken record player that keeps skipping on the same sad song. Let me explain how this works. Your brain creates these thoughts faster than you can catch them. They pop up before you have time to think about whether they're true or not. The problem is that most people treat these thoughts like facts. When your brain says, I'm going to mess up this presentation, you believe it. When it whispers, everyone will notice I don't belong here, you accept it as reality. But these thoughts aren't facts at all. They're just mental habits that your brain learned somewhere along the way. I want you to think about Sunday night for a moment. Do you know that feeling when Sunday evening rolls around and suddenly your chest feels tight? Your brain starts running through everything that could go wrong at work tomorrow. Or what about right before a big meeting? Your mind floods with thoughts like, what if I say something stupid? Or they're going to realize I don't know what I'm doing. And then there's that voice that shows up when you get promoted or start a new job. The one that says, it's only a matter of time before they figure out I'm a fraud. These thoughts don't just stay in your head. Research shows they trigger real physical responses in your body. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, your breathing gets shallow. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. So it prepares your body for danger, even when you're just sitting at your desk thinking about tomorrow's deadline. Let me give you the 3 main types of negative self-talk that trap professionals. The first one is the catastrophic thinker. This is when your brain jumps straight to the worst possible outcome. One missed email becomes, I'm going to get fired. The second type is the perfectionist critic. This voice tells you that anything less than perfect is failure. You finish a project and instead of feeling good, you focus on the one tiny thing that could have been better. The third type is the comparison trap. Your brain constantly measures you against others and always finds you lacking. Now, here's why willpower doesn't work to stop these thoughts. You can't just tell your brain to stop thinking negative thoughts. It's like trying not to think about a pink elephant. The harder you try, the more the thought sticks around. These patterns run deep in your neural pathways. They've been practiced thousands of times. Your brain thinks it's protecting you by preparing for the worst. But there is a specific way to catch these thoughts before they take control. The key moment happens in the split second between the trigger and your emotional response. Think of it like a gap between lightning and thunder. In that tiny space, you have the power to change everything. The secret is learning to recognize the physical sensations that come right before the negative thought spiral begins. Your shoulders might tense up, your breathing might change, your stomach might flutter. When you start paying attention to these early warning signals, you can interrupt the pattern before it gains momentum. It's not about stopping the thoughts completely. It's about catching them early enough to question whether they're actually true. But knowing when to catch them is only half the battle. The real question is what happens next. 3, the 2-session solution that changes everything. Scientists discovered something shocking when they tested a simple 2-session method on stressed professionals. They found that people could form working relationships with digital tools and see real reductions in their stress levels. What makes this even more surprising is that these weren't long therapy sessions or complicated programs. We're talking about just 2 sessions using a process called cognitive restructuring. Let me explain how cognitive restructuring works to rewire your thought patterns. Your brain has created these negative thinking highways over years of practice. Every time you think I'm not good enough or I'll probably mess this up, you're strengthening those neural pathways. Cognitive restructuring teaches you to build new roads in your brain. Instead of automatically going down the negative path, you learn to take a different route. The process breaks down into 3 simple steps that anyone can learn. Step 1 is recognize. This means catching the negative thought as it happens. Let's say you're about to give a presentation and you think, everyone will see I don't know what I'm talking about. That's the thought you need to recognize. Step 2 is question. You ask yourself, is this thought actually true? What evidence do I have? Would I tell a friend this same thing? I wish. Most of the time you'll find these thoughts don't hold up under questioning. Step 3 is replace. You swap the negative thought with something more realistic. Instead of everyone will see I don't know what I'm talking about, you might think I've prepared well and I know this material. The research data shows just how powerful this method can be. Participants in the study experienced measurable reductions in both distress and anxiety levels after just 2 sessions. They didn't just feel a little better. The changes could be measured and tracked. The digital intervention helped people recognize their negative thinking patterns and increase their motivation to change them. Now, motivation plays a crucial role in this process, but it's not the only factor that matters. The study found that while motivation increased during the sessions, it didn't directly predict how much stress or anxiety decreased. What this tells us is that the technique itself has power beyond just wanting to change. Even people who weren't super motivated still saw improvements in their stress levels. Let me give you an example of how small cognitive shifts create ripple effects in your daily stress management. Sarah works in marketing and always assumes her ideas aren't good enough before meetings. She starts practicing the 3-step method. When she catches herself thinking, my presentation will be boring, she questions it and replaces it with, I've included interesting examples that my team will find useful. This small shift changes how she feels walking into the meeting. She stands taller, speaks more clearly, and her confidence shows. Her colleagues respond better, which reinforces the positive thinking pattern. What gets really exciting is how fast these changes can happen with consistent practice. The participants in the study started noticing shifts in their thinking during the actual sessions. They reported experiencing moderate cognitive changes and stated they noticed changes in their way of thinking while they were still in the program. So how quickly can you expect to see improvements in your stress levels using these techniques? The research shows that people can experience reductions in distress and anxiety within just 2 sessions. That means you could start feeling less stressed in a matter of days or weeks, not months or years. The participants reported noticing changes in their thinking patterns right away, and these cognitive shifts led to measurable decreases in their stress levels. The key is consistency. You need to practice catching, questioning, and replacing your negative thoughts regularly. Now that you know how fast this works, let me show you exactly how to make it stick. Your negative self-talk isn't a character flaw, it's just outdated mental software that can be updated. Think of it like an old computer program that's been running the same code for years. You wouldn't blame yourself for having outdated software, would you? You'd just update it. I want you to start with just 1 automatic thought today and practice the recognize, question, replace method. Pick 1 negative thought that shows up regularly. When you catch it, ask yourself if it's really true, then replace it with something more realistic. You now have the same tools that helped research participants reduce their stress in just 2 sessions.